Okay, I'm live on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. Hit that sub button, YouTube. That's right. Hit that sub button. I need subs. Help.
In response, Iran said it would pause retaliatory strikes against U.S. bases across the Middle East. Over the weekend, the Pentagon updated. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The U.S. has paused bombing Iran for a third straight night after senior Trump administration officials reportedly warned the president about dwindling munitions stockpiles.
They're like, hey, we don't got any weapons.
In response, Iran said it would pause retaliatory strikes against U.S. bases across the Middle East.
Can we stop for a minute while we...
Over the weekend, the Pentagon updated...
God, they're faceless. Look.
Its official war casualty database, adding more than 140 wounded service members. The new figures show 18 U.S. troops have been killed and 624 wounded since the U.S. launched its war against Iran back in February. The Pentagon separating the casualty figures, deaths and injuries after the ceasefire ended on July 7th, are listed in a separate database labeled generically as Overseas Operations Casualties, unquote. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign ministry accused Ukraine of attacking an Iranian commercial vessel in the Caspian Sea, saying one sailor was killed and another injured. The Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, accused Russia of passing on to Iran its satellite observations in the Middle East, allowing Iran to launch attacks across the region. This comes as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
What makes you think they didn't just give access to the satellite? Fucking shit. Can you mute, please?
Who is set to visit the White House Tuesday for the first time since the U.S. and Israel started bombing Iran in February. Despite the lull in fighting, Britain said its armed forces were ready to defend itself after Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps warned the UK not to allow U.S. bombers to fly from UK bases. On Thursday, the IRGC claimed the U.S. had flown bombing missions against Iran from Fairford Air Base in southwest England. The U.S. war in Iran has spread to a second front to include Yemen. Yemen's Houthi rebels over the weekend struck sites belonging to the Saudi state oil giant Aramco on the Red Sea coast. On Friday, the Saudi-led military alliance bombed Houthi military positions in the Red Sea port of Hodeidah. In France and Spain, devastating wildfires have forced more than 360,000 people to evacuate their homes, the largest evacuation in France's history since World War II. The fires began in the southwest of France Wednesday before spreading to Spain. In France, 2,500 firefighters, 1,500 military personnel, and nearly 1,200 police have been deployed to bring the fires under control. It comes as a new heat wave is expected to hit Europe this week, with temperatures soaring to 40 degrees Celsius. That's 104 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a Spanish resident whose village has been engulfed by fires.
Last month.
We in the village are completely surrounded by all the fires. In the end, the fires here and those in Almoró and Villa del Prado have merged. The one coming from Burgondo is 10 kilometers from here and is already reaching this area. What we are seeing right now is that they have also joined together. In other words, the three fires from the three provinces are going to merge. And what we are seeing is devastation, fear, anguish. I don't know. It's impossible to explain.
We'll go to Spain after headlines to speak with a professor who is evacuated and also speak with John Valiant. He is author of the book Fire Weather. In Germany, a man allegedly drove a minivan into a crowd of people near Berlin's Pride celebration Saturday, killing one person and injuring 29 others. Authorities later shot and killed the man during an operation Sunday. The suspect was identified as Abdul Balat, a 21-year-old German citizen. According to authorities, he tried to join the Islamic State and was released from prison in May despite being jailed for preparing an attack. This is Berlin's mayor, Kai Wegner.
I can only say that Berlin, as a city of freedom and diversity, will continue to stand strong and make its position clear. We will not allow anyone to take away our way of life or the way we live together.
Here in New York, a man stabbed 2 people in broad daylight last week. The New York Police Department's investigating whether the stabbings are hate crimes. The first victim was a 57-year-old Asian man, the second a 50-year-old Jewish man. So far this year, the number of confirmed hate crimes has risen nearly 8% in New York City compared to the same period last year. In Seattle, Washington, 3 people were killed and 4 others wounded in a shooting at the Bite of Seattle Food Festival near the Needle on Sunday. The injured included a 2-year-old boy. Police are searching for one suspect and have another in custody. In Gaza, 2 Hamas security officials were killed Sunday in an Israeli strike. Al Jazeera reports Israeli forces targeted their vehicle while traveling through Deir al-Balah. The head of the police in northern Gaza was also killed in a separate Israeli attack on Saturday.
Holy shit. What are they looking for in there?
This all comes as a new report warns more than 2/3 of Palestinians in Gaza are likely to suffer from acute hunger by the end of this year, as humanitarian aid organizations face funding shortages while Israel continues to restrict the entry of food and other life-saving supplies.
What are you doing?
Currently, about 1.2 million people in Gaza face acute hunger. That figure could rise to more than 1.4 million Palestinians by December. In related news, Israel's approved the deployment of an international security force into Gaza as part of President Trump's so-called ceasefire agreement. The unit will reportedly include about 200 members from countries including Uganda and Morocco. In the occupied West Bank, Israeli settlers torched 2 mosques over the weekend in the latest wave of violent attacks on several Palestinian towns and villages. This is a resident of Qusra.
This is a religious crime. It is a moral crime in all. They are thieves, and you can call them with all the bad descriptions because there is no human on the planet that torches a religious place.
This comes as Israeli military forces Saturday detained over 70 Palestinians in raids across the occupied West Bank. The arrests and attack on the mosques followed the killing of at least 4 Palestinians in the town of Tal Friday, when Israeli settlers and soldiers opened fire on residents attempting to protect their homes. 2 Israeli soldiers were also killed. Several Israeli activists were arrested in Tel Aviv over the weekend during a protest against intensifying Israeli settler violence on Palestinians. Some of the protesters held signs that read, "Resist Zionist terror." Francesca Albanese, the UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories, has condemned the Israeli settler attacks as, quote, pogroms against defenseless civilians, unquote. The International Criminal Court has voted to remove Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan following sexual misconduct allegations against him that emerged 2 years ago. This is the first time an ICC chief prosecutor has ever been removed from office. Khan had already been suspended from his role in June, pending the ICC's oversight body's vote. Khan was accused of sexual misconduct by a female aide. He's denied the allegations. Khan's removal comes as the Trump administration is threatening to dismantle the ICC brick by brick. In India, the education minister, Dharmendra Pradhan, resigned after a week of mass demonstrations led by the Cockroach Janta Party. Hundreds of thousands of young people took to the streets after an exam leak scandal led to more than a dozen students taking their own lives. The violent police response led to sit-ins and drew more people to participate in the demonstrations. This is Abhijit Dipka, the founder of the Cockroach Party.
Why are they called the Cockroach Party?
It's a victory for the people of India, and it's a defeat for the dictator.
The White House Correspondents Association dinner was held Friday, 3 months after it was disrupted by a gunman. During an hour-long speech, President Trump attacked journalists, comedians, Democrats, as well as members of his own cabinet. He even joked about running for president again.
I want to save your ratings. I'm pleased to announce my intention to, and this is somewhat of a scoop, my intention to run for a fourth term as President of the United States.
A fourth term.
I will be doing that. I will be having an official. In fact, I think I have. Yeah. I won 3 times.
Please, King, live.
Now I'm going to do it again.
Trump 2028. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Paramount Skydance announced it's halting its merger with Warner Brothers Discovery until July of next year after a lawsuit from Democratic states. Paramount's also facing a lawsuit from the Writers Guild of America, which argues the merger would lead to job losses for screenwriters and journalists. Paramount Skydance is run by David Ellison, whose father, Larry Ellison, the billionaire founder of Oracle and a prominent ally and financial backer of President Trump. Under the proposed deal, CNN and CBS News, streaming services HBO Max and Paramount Plus, as well as film and television studios, would all be combined under a single entity controlled by the Ellisons. The UK is also threatening to sue over the merger. To see our interview with the California Attorney General Ron Bonta, go to democracynow.org.
To be honest.
In Houston, Texas, protests continued this weekend in response to the ICE killing of the 52-year-old Mexican father, Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. Dozens of groups and businesses led an economic blackout Friday, while hundreds of protesters marched to Houston City Hall Saturday demanding justice and for the ICE agents involved in the fatal shooting to be identified. Advocates have also called for the release of key witnesses from ICE custody, one of whom is Salgado's younger brother, Victor. This comes as the Harris County District Attorney's Office confirmed a white powder found in Salgado's van was not drugs, but an electrolyte salt mixture to stay hydrated while working in construction during Houston's scorching summer. The substance was the subject of an unsealed FBI search warrant. David Donati, senior staff attorney at the ACLU of Texas, said in a statement, quote, "By taking the unusual steps of securing and then unsealing their search warrant, the government's demonstrated it's more interested in creating a false narrative than in seeking the truth. The Salgados deserve real answers about what happened to their father. And we reiterate our call for an independent and complete investigation," the ACLU said. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus Friday held an oversight hearing in Houston on Salgado's ICE killing, where 2 of his sons, Ronaldo and Lorenzo Jr., testified. To see our coverage of the case, go to democracynow.org. A group of Venezuelan men who were wrongfully removed from the United States and sent to the notorious Salvadoran Secot prison have filed a lawsuit against the 2 U.S. aviation firms that chartered the 3 flights to El Salvador last year. The suit accuses CSI Aviation and Global X of violating the men's civil rights as well as U.S. and international law for transfer.
Those kids get to grow up hearing about their dad dying and their government backing it up and saying that they're okay to do that. It's terrible.
Transporting them to El Salvador, where many described facing torture. The lawsuit was filed earlier this month by several groups, including the Kennedy Human Rights Center, and was first reported by The Guardian. In March of last year, more than 230 Venezuelan men were rounded up and deported to El Salvador after the Trump administration invoked the Alien Enemies Act, accusing the men without evidence of being gang members. Federal health officials announced a new outbreak of cyclosporiasis, impacting 72 people. About 4,100 people have been infected with the cyclospora parasite.
Great.
According to the CDC, at least 98 people have been hospitalized as cases have been reported in at least 41 U.S. states. Critics have talked about the gutting of CDC by DOJ. And in Maine, Democrats have selected Troy Jackson to replace Graham Plattner as their U.S. Senate candidate at a convention on Saturday. Plattner dropped out of his race after an ex-girlfriend accused him of rape. Jackson is a former logger and former Maine state legislator who was the Maine State Senate president. He will face Republican Senator Susan Collins, a 5-term incumbent, in November. This is Jackson accepting his party's nomination for Senate.
We need someone with courage. We need a fighter. And we need a senator who remembers exactly who sent them to Washington, which is you. And let's unite this party. Let's build the largest working class movement Maine has ever seen. And let's win this fight. I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you, and God bless.
Anybody but the Republican.
Troy Jackson was endorsed by the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, when he ran for governor. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.
See, that's what we need. We need to be able to identify a platform that they stand on. If you say DSA, I'm voting for them. And that's the thing. The DSA can exist inside the Democratic Party if the liberal Democrats will let it happen. But they're not going to let it happen. So, forget that. You know? It's like we have to take it over completely. And those old fucks, sorry if you're old. And you're not a fuck. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about old fucks that have been in the Senate, like Chuck Schumer, etc. You know. The ones that have been holding us back for 40 years. Those guys. You know who they are. Even Obama. Even Obama's a problem. He's a liberal.
The Republican Party is starting to notice
barely
the wins
liberal
of
enough for me.
DSA, the way that the left is capturing. The Republican Party is starting to notice the wins of DSA, the way that the left is capturing energy within the Democratic base. And, you know, frankly, the country is showing openness to these ideas. They see how Zoran Mamdani's popularity is skyrocketing. They see how there are polls that are coming out about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez being a front runner in the 2028 presidential race.
Yep.
We're going to start to see this happen, I would say, after the midterms. There will be announcements about who's going to run for president. They will declare their intentions. And there was a big poll that came out of the University of New Hampshire, which showed essentially that AOC is the favorite in that poll in 2028 if she chooses to run, ahead of Kamala Harris, who's kind of been the default name in polling, despite the fact that I think that
how long have I been telling you guys
there's going to be some rubber meeting the road when that campaign actually starts. And I think a lot of Democrats want a clean break from that Biden era. There may be affection for Kamala Harris. That's kind of my sense when I look at the base, but I don't see a clamoring really for her to run because of all of the reasons that she lost before. The genocide in Gaza, the association with the Biden administration, and really an inability to kind of understand the political moment, bringing in Liz Cheney to talk about democracy as the party boxed out the public from making a determination about who the nominee would be, for example, and Biden forced his way through. Like,
yeah, like getting, I forgot she brought Liz in. Oh my God. Kind of look like Freddie Mercury. Thanks.
These are outdated politics, unfortunately.
And she never really had a moment where she was exciting people generally. Like, to the extent people have favorable opinions of her now, I think it's in the shadow of the reality of a second Trump administration.
Her polling is immensely soft in terms of any lead, in my view, that we're seeing. But we don't know what AOC is going to do. I think John Ossoff is going to try to run as well. But answers like this from her are why she's so important as a messenger right now, and why Fox News is losing its mind about her popularity and the popularity of her platform and DSA and Zoran and Bernie style politics. Here she is being asked about how
except he had prosthetic teeth in, so
about what you do essentially when Republicans try to call you communists.
They can do what they want. I'm not here to be the belief police around here.
But isn't there concern that, this
belief police
slippery slope towards socialism inevitably ends up as full-blown communism? I mean, no?
I'm not concerned about America turning into a communist country in like a year. That is like, I think that is, oh, sorry. I think that's, I think it's very silly. I think. You just think about how impossible it has been to raise the minimum wage in America in 10, 15, 20 years. We can't even raise the minimum wage. Do Republicans really think that this stuff is going to happen? No, they don't. They're trying to scare people because they don't want us talking about the fact that we all have a right to health care in this country. So they want to call it communist, and they want to call everything they don't like communist, because if people actually wake up to the fact that their elected officials are screwing them over when they get here, then they're going to realize that they deserve better, and that healthcare is a right isn't crazy. It isn't pie in the sky. They want to call this stuff communist because they don't want us to realize that the rest of the developed world has guaranteed healthcare in this country. So they want to call it communist because they don't want you to know that Germany, Italy, the UK, Canada, everybody else has it better than us, and we spend the most amount of money for the worst care in the modern developed world.
But Democrats can say the moment they regain power, they will pass this.
Sorry, guys. Y'all saved me.
I think that's good. I just want to read this headline from CNN. Americans, including many Republicans, are losing faith in capitalism, polling.
I know. I think those are all reporters trying to get a scoop. Like, yeah.
Shows the communism scare tactics don't work when the economy is this bad for everyday people.
I know,
and she makes that point clearly. The idea that we're going to be able to implement communism
scary,
when
actually.
Democrats won't even get rid of the filibuster, so we can pass up and down popular legislation that isn't related to taxing the rich. It's just about any kind of democracy that would redistribute wealth. Like, we're already in an uphill battle there. It's why the freak out.
What she is talking about there is the most milquetoast liberal thing that we were going for when Obama was around. Like, what do you mean? That's not communism. Like she said, it's bullshit. Like, when we start to talk about buying Viacom and all the movie studios, and we nationalize the oil and kick out Chevron or whoever fucking is American still, and we start doing all that stuff, then we can start talking about communism being a problem. All right? Come on.
About the DSA program isn't working either, because as I think Crystal said when she was going back and forth with Representative Adam Smith about this, are there any elected DSA federal officials that are saying that they want to abolish the Senate or I guess turn us more into a parliamentary system in the way that the DSA program?
Look, abolishing the Senate is simply bringing America into the modern democracy of not having a fucking king. The Senate is the king. It's bullshit.
Says we're not even close to that. But the objectives, in my view, are just. And I don't think that the scare tactics about this really work anymore. This freak out is interesting to witness. It's both from the Democratic establishment side and the Republican Party side.
David Pacman.
But what's fun is that they're being really horny about
David
it.
Packer.
You know, because this party is really very much the cult of Trump. And as Trump reveals himself to be this evil, chaotic bisexual, I guess the rest of the party has to kind of go along with it and be horny. I don't know, because I like to call this segment with Laura Ingraham, repressed fascist accidentally outs herself.
This is funny. By the way, I probably look like Rami Malek because he's probably partial. He's probably, I think, Lebanese, like me, partially.
Got to give her credit. She didn't know much, still won. But the fact is, AOC is an attractive millennial with a powerful...
Ooh. She's an attractive millennial? And look, she shows this hot shot of her with her shirt unbuttoned. Bro, she's hot in the city. She's Sex in the City for AOC. She's rolling deep in New York with AOC in her head. She's doing cosplay. She's writing fanfics.
Surface appeal. With her long, sleek, raven hair and red lips.
I told you she's writing fanfics. Holy shit, she literally is writing fanfics about AOC. I swear to fucking God. She's just the person that would be doing that shit too. She's the person that would take you aside at a party and go, you know, I write fanfics about AOC. And you're like, the fuck? Yeah, that slippery slope thing, you're correct. You picked that up quickly. That's some bullshit. That's been used so much. It's a slippery slope into, you know, marijuana is a slippery slope into cocaine, and the cocaine's a slippery slope into, you know, hard dicks. It's like, what? What? What'd you just say? Like, get the fuck out of here with your slippery slopes. Yeah. And it's a way of diverting, like, in a debate. Yeah, if you do that in a debate, you'll lose points. Yeah, true.
She said,
we don't do that,
okay,
though.
Let's surface appeal. Before we get to the Raven hair,
remember, we have absolutely no reason left. Truth is what we say rather than what is.
Surface appeal. Is that like curb appeal for human beings?
I mean, the Raven hair piece, we can pause right there because it sounds like a romance novel. Just
bro, she's totally picking up on my vibe. When I said fanfic, I'm like, she's writing fanfic, and she's like, yeah, it's like a romance novel. Like, who says raven hair?
Describing a woman in the horniest way, or it's like a fantasy novel.
Fabio on the cover.
Right.
I was going to say, well, she's dressed like Fabio.
She's writing fanfics in her head.
She wants to be on the cover of a romance novel with AOC.
Airbrush her all jacked with a six-pack.
She's like, I would love to brush those raven locks. Oh my God,
carrying
girl.
AOC across the threshold.
She's an attractive millennial, says the Gen X.
Yeah, see, they get it too. They think she's doing the
Laura
same thing.
is what we would describe as a stone bottom. People can look that up.
Okay.
Attractive millennial with a powerful surface appeal. With her long, sleek raven hair and red lipstick, she's at times played dual roles. Kind of the
Switch hitter?
activist,
In my head.
both up from her bootstraps, who wants to stick it.
What's going on here? She's at times played dual roles in my head. Sometimes I write her as a sexy woman who I have a date with. Other times she's my enemy. What's going on here?
Times played dual roles. Kind of the
Switch hitter?
activist, both up from her bootstraps, who wants to stick it to the man.
Bootstraps?
And then at times she's
Her
kind of played the
boobstraps?
girly girl who
Held up by her boob straps. She can't get her boobs out of her head. Dude, she's literally, I think she actually likes her. Like, I'm sure she's bisexual. Come on.
shares her favorite recipe on TikTok.
Okay, so she's like, she can be both butch and femme. She can be both butch and femme. Which,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Ad hominem. It's like,
she
attack
has
the person,
long
rather than
black,
argument.
sleek, raven
Distract
hair
from the
and red
argument.
lips. And
Just basic. That's what she does every day. Laura Ingraham does that every day on her show. That's their angle. That's the angle. Ad hominem. all day.
She can pull her up her boots, her thigh-high boots.
You know who's really good at that kind of shit? Destiny. That POS. Who I won't speak of. If you don't know about them, that's good. But that person would be the king of this bullshit.
And get to work, but also cook. It's really like she has it all. Laura, come on, girl. It's not too late to live your truth. She's never been.
She thinks she's picking up the feminist vibe, like sexual, like.
Married. I'm sorry, but like she's never been married.
Confirmed bachelor.
Confirmed bachelor.
Oh, she's a bachelor.
She's literally drooling in that segment, but I can't tell if that's just because her cheeks don't work, or
Right.
she's just horny.
Or she just has too much filler that her mouth can't.
I mean, why wouldn't I, as a cis male, know a bisexual woman when I see her? Like, come on. Like, I got some sense about me.
Fully closed.
That's spit doesn't say in my mouth.
But
I'm
this
not a
item
20-year-old.
that I saw made me laugh so hard last night. I did not remember that this was reported, I guess in 19...
No, I know, because the chud brain gets distracted quickly by ad hominem. Oh, that's something else to focus on. Oh, sparkle, 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 sparkle. So the right has figured that out, like Fox News, how to use all those kind of false arguments and, you know, the whole thing, the whole shtick.
99, but Mediaite bitchily recirculated it a few years ago in 2019. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham and Fox News host Laura Ingraham used to date, apparently. Writes Mediaite.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I like the apparent.
I mean, good on her. What, they're both gay. He's like, I got a proposition for you, Laura. Since I'm gay and you're also bisexual, I propose that we date to back up that we're actually cis. And that way our constituents won't drag us under the bus. What do you say, Laura? I think that's a good thing.
They know what they're doing.
Lindsey Graham.
Per two 1999 reports, the two were seen showing signs of affection in public shortly after former Democratic President Bill Clinton.
I really liked it when they impeached Bill Clinton and you talked about it. That's right. We need to make this
Impeachment trial, which we all know is such an aphrodisiac. Just ask Epstein defender
The pheromones
Ken
going
Starr.
around that.
Yeah.
That is grandma.
Oh, you can't ask Ken Starr. He's
leggy,
dead. Blonde pundit Laura Ingraham
Ingraham
and chubby-cheeked Representative Lindsey Graham are an item. The New York Post 1999 issue reported.
Yeah, Graham and Ingram.
Okay, chubby-cheeked. That's what you say when the guy's too demonic
Secretly
to be described as cherubic. Cherubic? Cherubic?
Yeah, cherubic.
However you say it. The personable Graham. Is that a euphemism?
Yes, personable.
Is one of the House managers and an emerging star of the trial. Ingram is the Take No Prisoners host of MSNBC's Watch It Ingram, and through a spokeswoman that never comments on her private life, blah, blah, blah. They asked Lindsey Graham about this, but it ends like this.
One guy, one
yeah,
time.
They pulled from this 1999 WAPO report. This WAPO report continues that the two had cozied up in a booth at what is possibly the worst restaurant in Washington for remaining unseen, which I would guess is purposeful.
1950s Hollywood.
It's 100% what I said.
Let's make a conspicuous appearance.
I doubled down on my initial take on this. Fuck. Yeah. 100%. They're like, yep, I'm gay and you're bisexual, which is fine with me. I mean, I just...
This is what they do with Rock Hudson.
I'm secure.
Rock Hudson must have been a much better hang than freaking Lindsey Graham.
Absolutely.
God. This throwback comes on the heels
the
of
right says we're
unsubstantiated...
not funny. We make so much fun out of their not being gay. You know? Like, it's so easy to make fun of because it's so hypocritical. being hypocritical is really easy to make fun of. If you're going to be hypocritical about what you're doing, if you're going to be doing exactly what you're asking other people not to do, you're going to get made fun of relentlessly. Relentless. It'll be relentless because that's an easy target. And it's not punching down either. Right? Like punching down is one thing. That's comedy. That's right-wing comedy. But left-wing comedy is mostly about pointing out hypocrisies and pointing out this kind of shit. Like, you dumbass. You know? No, his sister. Right?
Rumors that the single House member might be a closeted homosexual. Last fall, Graham's critics tried to force him out of the presumed closet after he had shown support for President Donald Trump. To the extent that it matters, I'm not gay, Graham told TMZ at the time. So, what do you call a double beard?
He's like,
What do you call that?
I mean...
Yeah.
Just a really thick one, I guess. I mean, I'm sorry to speculate, Laura, but that was one of the horniest and weirdest things I've ever seen on TV.
You're not the only one
and
speculating.
Now that I see that it was apparently leaked to the press, and this is the most planted story I've ever read in my whole life.
What the fuck? Oh yeah, that's the way it works.
That you dated Lindsey Graham, that straight sexual matador. I have to start asking some questions.
Yeah, I think it's next of kin. If you die in office, the next of kin takes over. I think only... I don't know if it's like I can't remember if it's state or, United States kind of law or whatever, but.
Yeah, wow.
I wish these people would just live their truth.
Oh, no. This is normal. This is the way. They've done this kind of shit before. You're right. Yep. Yeah.
Stop making everybody else's problem. Goddamn.
Like, Lindsay, everyone thinks you're gay. Let's go to Bennigan's or wherever it was.
I mean, truly.
I never went to Bennigan's. You cannot prove it. I have never been to Bennigan's. How do you say it? No, it's been mostly like southern states. You mostly hear about that shit in Arkansas or fucking Florida or Kentucky. Where was he from? I can't even remember. Lindsey Graham, motherfucker. Like, I've known these guys for so long now that like I ignore them because to me they're not important. Lindsey Ollie Graham, July 9th, 1955 to July 11th. 2026. Well, at least he lived after his birthday. He lived a good life. What state was he from? Oh my God. The first thing I see is Lindsey Graham was followed by a documentary crew at the end of his life. Do you think he says he's gay? Oh. I can't wait. He's going to confess from his bed. Yeah, I have absolutely no love for these old school senators. None. I'm trying to say nice things about this motherfucker, Lindsey Graham. Excuse my language, but I'm going to say it. Only because he recently died and I don't like to jump on top of people's graves. But like the amount of hypocrisy this guy was able to, display throughout his life, and the amount of like just hell he caused for the gay community throughout his life, and especially when the gay community was trying to become, known, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Fuck this guy. All the shit he did against it, the things he talked about. Meantime, he finds out he's gay, whatever. Doesn't find out he's gay, acts gay, whatever. I don't fucking care. But if you're going to spend your life, being Hitler, basically, Yeah, and he reaches that level in my opinion, because it's just like he's always been on the other side going, hey, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you.
The Republican, I mean, I'm not trying to be too Hunter Biden-y here, but the Republican Party is very much, I guess, some sort of like lavender gang, right?
Has anybody posited the theory that he faked his death so that he could
South
run
Carolina.
as Darlene?
Like, what did the world do to you, South Carolina, to send this motherfucker to the Senate? Like, that many times. And you know what it is? It's solely owned by not the people, obviously.
And I think we were on that on day one. Like the second I saw his sister was stepping into his. It's like, okay, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, okay.
Very effective.
Yeah,
especially in his early days. I never said he wasn't a good senator, right? But I just said I have a huge problem with all of the things he fought for his whole life, and how much of a hypocrite he was. Fucking hate hypocrites.
The Republican Party, the Lavender Syndicate. Yeah. It's all a conspiracy. Man, Laura's lesbian yearning was something to behold.
Why are you going to talk about all the good things he did when the bad things he did outweigh everything he ever did that was good, in my opinion? And if you looked at anyone objectively looks at it, they would come to that same conclusion, because I'm not looking at it with like, oh, I want to make this guy bad. It's just like, no. Fuck him.
Gotta say, you shouldn't do that on Maine, girlfriend.
Whatever.
Save that for another time.
It's leaking out, Laura.
Yeah, it's leaking.
Correct.
Laura's lesbian leak out is
good.
what we're gonna call this segment.
The heat is on.
He was a very, very effective senator. Like, that's the thing about some of these Republicans, is they've been very effective at doing. They have to be, because their policies are antithetical to most of people's instincts in America. So they've learned how to be effective. Democrats don't have to be effective. They're feckless. Okay. Not anymore, though. We're taking it over. The DSA is going to change the Democratic Party from being feckless to actually being effective at my policies, what I want. And I don't have to look at these guys being effective like Lindsey motherfucking Graham, right? Rolling all over us. They're like, universal health care? I don't think so. South Carolina has as much say as California? Right, they play the game better. Agreed, yeah. But I think that's changing. I really hope it is, because I think we're learning. And I think the DSA is teaching us, and the feckless way that the corporate Democratic Party has operated throughout the last 40 years has shown us that doesn't work. And we now see that, and our kids are now seeing it, and they're growing up in a world where that is actually reality for them, and they can't ignore it. So what do people expect when these people go to the voting booth and are like, yeah, you know what? I don't want any more of that bullshit we just went through, or my parents went through. They're not dumb. And it's not just college degrees people either. It's just normal people working. Right? So, yeah. All right, next video. Where's my playlist? Hello? The fuck? Okay, I don't know what happened. My playlist is truncated. Okay, here we go. Time to check in with... I'm going to call him Uncle because he's got more gray hair than me.
So this is kind of crazy, y'all. But
got more gray hair
it
than
appears
me,
like
brother.
Lindsey Graham casually committed treason before his death. Okay, so let me walk you through this here. Look at this. So there's some new reporting out. I believe it's from Reuters or the Wall Street Journal. Let's say Wall Street Journal, okay? And they say this. Senator Lindsey Graham planned to travel to Florida in early March to persuade President Trump to join...
Sorry, to finish my thought process on Lindsey Graham, too. Him being effective, that answers my question. Why did they send him to the Senate every year? Because he was effective, and that's what that state wanted, was things that Lindsey Graham was offering. which is unfortunate. But whatever.
Israel in the bombing of Hezbollah in Lebanon until a friend talked him out of it. The friend, former Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, told him on a call before the trip that bringing the U.S. into the operation in the midst of the Iran war...
I mean, he's just being extra on everything, and he's always been like that.
...was going too far too fast, according to unreleased footage from a documentary about the South Carolina Republican lawmaker that was being filmed before he died earlier this month. So in other words, Lindsey Graham was directly, secretly colluding with Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, the head of the far...
Yeah, he used hyperbole a lot on his titles. Also, calling something treason is just... It's... Oh, God. So many words don't mean anything anymore. It's crazy.
Foreign head of state, okay? And he was working with him to help try to shape and control U.S. foreign policy and manipulate Trump into doing stuff on behalf of Israel. I mean, this is like literally open treason, and we actually have video of some of this shit. So here we go. Here's video from the Wall Street Journal. This is after Trump decided to bomb the shit out of Iran, okay, including bombing the little girls' school. And listen to how excited Lindsey Graham is here. This is crazy.
Virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. No. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that
Look what we've done here.
I know.
I almost cried. Yeah. I mean, like, how long have we been pushing this?
Well, you've been pushing this for years, right?
Right. It's here.
Fuck it. He's like literally a super villain, bro. This is out of this world. I almost cried for tears of joy because we finally got Trump to illegally and aggressively attack a country that wasn't a threat.
I talked to Trump this morning. Oh, he's jacked. Yeah. It's the best thing I've ever done. He loves blowing stuff up. So, you know, there are a lot of people inside didn't want to do it. So I've had my challenges. But President Trump, when he gets into the zone, he listens, he asks good questions, you know, no tweeting.
When he's in the
zone? He hasn't tweeted much at all, no drama. He's been a great wartime president. I said last night that Trump and Bibi are like Roosevelt and Churchill.
Oh,
Roosevelt and Churchill.
I mean, they're the right two guys to confront.
Oh, my God. He said he loves...
He said he loves it. No, this is what he said, Kyle. He said, I have brain worms, and I want everyone to know it.
Blowing stuff up. He was talking about how long have I want to do this. Openly colluding. All right, here we go. Here's a call with Netanyahu. Listen to this.
Do you have it on speaker, Ryan?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. All right, connecting you now.
Yeah.
Hello?
Not to mention
Hey,
this.
Bibi, Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay. How are you?
I couldn't, I'm just so impressed. Glad to be your friend.
I'm glad you are, my friend.
I'm going to meet with the president this weekend. I'm going down to Doral. I'm going to try to get him to join with y'all in Lebanon to maybe fly some with you. Would you like that?
Yeah, I get that. I think you have a point, but I've been thinking about the other side of it for a second. We're concentrating right now on Iran. If we tell Hezbollah that we're going all the way, we threaten them, but if we actually do it, then they have no reason not to go all the way against us. And right now, that's not our interest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send bombs.
Well, I'll, okay, well, that's actually good counsel. I'll put it out there as an idea. We can always go back to it.
Oh, my days, bro.
Counsel?
He's literally more of a...
I mean, he's not... I mean, if Israel was ever to become the enemy of America, you know, rather than our ally, this would be treason. Right? Technically, it's treason, but we don't abide by that, right?
Hawk than Benjamin Netanyahu. He's more of a neocon war hawk psychopath than modern-day Adolf Hitler, who's doing a genocide. He's doing now multiple genocides.
Please.
How fucking ludicrous. And it was Netanyahu going, look, there's a revolt in the American public against the Iran war. If y'all start bombing Lebanon for us, another illegal war of aggression against a country that didn't attack us, if you start bombing them, I don't know, dog. I think your country's gonna fucking revolt against that shit. And Lindsey Graham's sitting there like, I want to bomb more. My precious bombs must bomb more brown kids. More innocent brown kids must
more
die.
Bombs.
Oh,
more
my
death.
days, bro. Oh, my days. By the way, you cannot fucking convince me that Mossad doesn't have the thickest file on this man, dog. You cannot convince me that Mossad doesn't know his nickname is Ladybugs. You cannot convince me that Mossad doesn't have pictures and videos and audio of him with like hundreds or thousands of sex workers doing depraved shit. Him wearing a little tutu
Give me the
in a
American
fucking
credit
rundown
card.
motel in Washington, D.C., shoving pool cues up his ass and shit. You cannot tell me that that's not the case, because I guarantee.
Exactly. And to your point, Chatter, you know, Netanyahu likes to go to the bar and, you know, show off his credit card that says USA on it, and it says this comes directly out of the USA's tax debt or whatever. No, comes right out of the pockets of the USA population. Yeah, exactly. It says something like that on there. You know, and he shows it to people. He's like, "Look, it's unlimited."
You, that's the motherfucking case. But here's Lindsey Graham just casually, nonchalantly, all
It's
blasé,
like a reward.
committing treason, working with a foreign government. By the way, it is so, like, anybody who says he's not Israel first is a liar. Lindsey Graham doesn't think at all.
What? He's dead.
About America. He doesn't think at all about Americans.
Think?
All he thinks about is what war he wants to do next. What shit he wants to blow up next.
Huh?
That's all he thinks about.
What?
That's all he cares
How old
about.
is this
That's
video?
it. That's it. It is astonishing.
2 hours
seeing
ago.
This stuff. All right, more.
You uploaded it. You
just
still
to
can't
show you
say.
who we're dealing with here. Do you guys remember that old clip of Benjamin Netanyahu, where this is before the Iraq
didn't
War?
die.
He testifies in front of Congress, and in no uncertain terms, he says, "Look, we have to attack Iraq because it's going to be awesome. It's going to go great. Saddam Hussein's going to fall. Then other countries in the region are going to fall.
Speaking about
then
him
democracy
like
is
he's
going to
still
sweep."
alive. This is who we're dealing with. I think what he's trying to say is, chat, to clear it up a little bit, if you're confused, is that this is the kind of people we're dealing with. And he's correct. These are the kind of people that we need to vote out with the DSA candidates. This guy gets replaced by a fucking 40-year-old DSA candidate, a 35-year-old DSA candidate, whatever age they need to be.
Through the region like you've never seen before. And everybody's going to be happy. Everybody's going to be healthy. It's going to be a democratic system now set up in all these different countries. And it's going to be glorious. You know, they're going to be cheering for us. They're going to welcome us as
Gen
liberators.
X. If there's a couple Gen X guys you can throw in there, girls, that's fine. But the rest of them got to be millennials. They got to have that millennial sting in their ass.
Greet us. They're going to love us.
Yeah,
this is what Netanyahu says. Then, of course,
he's blowing
literally
smoke
every
hot.
single thing he said
Like
turned
I
out to
said,
be totally fucking wrong. Every single thing he said turned out to be dead wrong. Okay? Well, here's Lindsey Graham.
In 1942, this would have been
this
blown
happened,
up.
all the, you know.
Like, this video would blow up and, you know, many people would fall, right? We just don't do that anymore. High treason!
The multiple attacks, the war against Iran, the blowing up.
Like, whenever they say, why don't they just impeach the president? It's like, yeah, ha 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 ha. Very funny.
The Middle East, the rampant Western and Israeli aggression. Listen to what Lindsey Graham said here. This is astonishing because it shows you they're always going to be wrong. They're not only wrong about shit in the past, they're wrong today. Listen to this. Here we go.
Is able to deliver. Oh, to be honest with you, I think about 3 to 4
No, I directly
weeks,
said that. It's
we should
about them
have
being
them
an
in a
ally,
spot
so it's
where
fine.
they
If they
start
weren't
losing
allies,
control of
this
some
would be
cities.
treason.
And what we're
So this is March 4th. So this is after, I believe, the
I think. I mean, whatever.
June was the first round of bombing where they went after Fordo and said, we destroyed everything. Then they started the war again in February 28th. So
But
this is at
even
the
then, we
beginning
don't
of the
care.
war, like a week in or so.
Anymore.
And he's saying, oh, watch, cities are going to fall. Just wait.
losing control of some cities.
Oh.
And what we're trying to do is just get a few cities to fall in the next month. Get the Arabs more openly involved tomorrow or by the end of the week, and just have almost irreversible momentum.
I mean, the thing I, besides laughing at this motherfucker, is that thank God he's not operating anymore, because it sounds like he was instrumental in pushing a lot of heavy strings. You know what I mean? The way he's speaking, I can tell.
oh, we're just going to get a few cities to fall, then the Arabs will come in, then we'll have momentum, and then everything will be perfect. Not a single motherfucking city fall. A city didn't fall. A town didn't fall. A fucking village didn't fall. A county didn't fucking fall. Not a single motherfucking thing fell. Nothing fell.
Beach fell.
Nothing fell. Wrong about everything. This man is. Wrong about absolutely everything. So just keep this in mind. Now, by the way, at the same time, let's remember, the House of Representatives passed the National Defense Authorization Act, which is over $1 trillion to the military. But in that, it also includes a provision. I believe it's Section 219. At one point, it was 224. I think it's 219 now. But what that says is that the U.S. and Israel are now going to be married at the hip together, in the sense that we're going to do more intelligence sharing with each other, and we're going to do, creation of weaponry and things of that nature together. And Benjamin Netanyahu is on the record as saying that this is my plan. This is our plan. This is what I want. So Netanyahu's going around going, I don't want U.S. support anymore. We don't need that anymore. We're good. But it's a trick, because he wants to basically make it baked into the cake of how everything functions. They want to make it so we're partners, that they're not, a recipient of our aid. They're partners with us. So it's a way for Israel to sort of get their claws into the government in a way that's irreversible, in the same way that Palantir is doing the same thing. Peter Thiel wants his claws in the government in a way that's irreversible. So even if a good president comes along and goes, we're done with this, we're breaking up with Israel, and we're breaking up with Palantir, you can't, because they're so deeply embedded in our systems that it becomes impossible to break up with them. That's what this is. And every single fucking Republican except one, Thomas Massey, voted for that. Every Republican voted for treason. They support treason. Lindsey Graham did treason here on camera. That's what this is. They're not...
everyone likes to fucking talk like Thomas Massey's some great guy because he pushed back on a couple things, and respect to him, yes, etc. But because a right-wing, person decides to push back a little to the left, just slightly, and only coming to not even a moderate Republican, not moderate Democrat position, who cares? Making way too much hay out of this shit. Thomas Massey bullshit. All right, we don't need to humanize the rest of the pack of these motherfuckers, because no, they don't care about us.
Representing America, they're colluding with a foreign fucking evil villain head of state and making decisions that way for the benefit of that country, not our country. And every Republican except one committed treason, and I believe there were 6 Democrats in the House that committed treason, and you're not going to be surprised to learn they all take a...
Yeah, but we can have all these motherfucking contracts with, how many goddamn... there's a bunch of military contracts we have with the Israeli government. They make things we use, like drones and certain things, and surveillance tech. We buy from them. We have a contract. We buy that. On top of the money we give them, carte blanche. A la carte.
Colossal amount of money from AIPAC, because fucking of course they do.
And then
so
there's
there you have it. This video says
they're taking that money,
good riddance,
that we're giving them, and turning around and investing in AIPAC to manufacture all kinds of propaganda in America. Do you see how this works? It's disgusting. We have to stop this shit. It's not only just about the Palestinians. The reason we talk about Palestinians is because it's the root, that'll call it, it's the main death area. But there's all this other shit I'm talking about that's around it that is the cause of this fucking unholy fucking alliance we have with this Zionist regime that's a nationalist fucking state that shouldn't exist. I'm sorry. So,
hey y'all, do me a favor.
The only way to do this is vote them out. That's it. We need to turn America into New York, okay? That's it. It's the only chance we got. We have this one chance. And I think if we don't get this time, they're gonna change so many laws and change so many precedents that basically Elon Musk is gonna be president. Right? It's just gonna be Elon Musk as president from here on out until he decides to disconnect from his neural network. I'm not even fucking joking, really. Okay? And then ask yourself, why are they finally making Neuromancer? Interesting. Just saying. I'm just saying, chat. The unfilmable book. William Gibson's opus. Unfilmable is finally coming to TVs. That's right. Neuromancer is coming.
Let's jump right into the deep end, right into the sewer. Let's get into Mr.
We're checking in with the Zennials, aka Gen Z, aka the weak generation, the doesn't want to work generation, by the way. Bull fucking shit. Okay, don't talk to me about Gen Z not working. That's some bullshit.
David Pakman, who just keeps doubling down, and tripling down after getting totally humiliated and called out across the internet, mostly by left-wing accounts.
Yeah, and then on his point, he said directly after that, my friend, he's like, we've got plenty of bombs. We can do whatever we want. I wasn't talking about interceptors. I was talking about bombs. We just don't want a bomb because we don't have interceptors. But they're not related. Not related at all. Don't make the correlation.
And commentators, people like Kyle Kalinske, Hassan Piker, etc., content creators that are far more relevant and popular, quite frankly, than David Pakman is at this point in his career. Let's take a look at David Pakman.
He said, taco!
Pakman continuing to double down. I think this was on Gavin Newsom's podcast, right?
Yep, absolutely. This is a pretty revealing clip, guys.
10 years ago, when I would interview DSA people, socialists, etc., they would say to me very soberly, they would go, listen, David, I'm a socialist. David. You're not.
Very soberly. Oh my God. When David Pakman starts a sentence like that, that is a cue for you to go, everything this guy's about to say has never happened and only happened in his head and the straw man that he talked to in his head about this. Okay, so I don't think he had any conversations with anyone about this that spoke to him this way about this. Okay? It's either off of a piece of sheet that IPAC gave him, right? The fuck? What's that? Oh, something fell on the roof, I guess. The fuck? Anyway.
But our next stops on this bus are the same. And so I see myself as united with you.
Yeah. Our next stops on this bus are the same. Pakman, they aren't.
If and when we get to social democracy and the things we agree on, we get people healthcare, etc., then the social democrats and the bona fide socialists can have an argument about whether we go.
My taco trading is the best. It goes back to that one day when I said on Cinco de Mayo that we made the best taco salads at Trump Hotel. That's right. Everyone remembers that day. I was proving that I wasn't racist. That's right. That's why I had the taco salad. I ate taco salad means not racist. That's right, chat. Don't forget.
Go further or not. I really respected that. That was a very interesting conversation to have. There wasn't a litmus test.
What's that I hear? What's that I hear? Did I hear? Oh, it sounds like sexual sounds coming from Pakman. He's trying to solicit sex from my friend.
Posed on me as someone who is not a socialist.
As someone who supports a genocide, the one fucking litmus test that he's consistently failed in the past.
Taco trading,
that's
making
very
you
different
rich.
Now, where I regularly
Why are you
get emails
complaining?
and see comments for people saying, you're with us or...
Just let me be a dictator and a fascist. I'll laugh in your face. You can taco trade. That's right.
Us. It doesn't matter if we agree on universal health care and a few other things. Yeah. We believe housing should be government owned and people are assigned a house and blah, blah, blah. I go, I don't believe.
Who is?
That is not what people are fucking saying. The conclusions, the slippery slopes these motherfuckers are sliding down, you know, getting their dicks whacked on a fucking pole and then assuming something because they can't see anything. What the fuck is happening here? It does not ever include anything the fucking Soviet Union did in their worst times. The only thing it would include is the good things they did. We learn from the past. We're not advocating for that bullshit. No one is doing that.
Saying that. Who is literally saying that? Kyle's not saying that. Hasan's not saying that. Who on the socialist left online media space?
None of us.
Who in that space is saying this? I don't know.
No.
Yeah, he's basically like hearkening back to the Bernie.
Yeah, we understand what we're doing. All of us are laser focused because it's easy. It's easy to laser focus on this because we know what we don't want. We don't want this fuckface smiling over here going, yeah, I keep saying that. You do a good job. Good job, Pac-Man. Good job. Because this guy wants everything to be the same, folks. He wants it to be the same old California. He wants to keep siphoning money off, losing money, whatever the fuck he's been doing, where we still don't have universal health care in California. We should. We should be setting the precedent for the rest of the states.
Era and saying like, oh, back 10 years ago when like Bernie was running, like they were way less aggressive. There was way less litmus tests. When in reality, if you go back to that time, the way people were talking about the DSA candidates is exactly how they were talking about the Bernie bros at the time.
And I'm not saying I want a Republican versus this guy. I'll take him any day over anyone to the right of him. That's been the problem the whole time. But he doesn't represent what I want. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, chat. It's like,
they're too aggressive, and Bernie's not even a real Democrat, and they have all these litmus tests about Medicare for all and stuff. They don't even accept that Hillary Clinton's a real progressive because she's not as far left as Bernie Sanders. And
people like me and people that are going to be voting and winning the election are standing on principle. They need people that are standing on principled stances. Like I said, pillars of things they're willing to stand behind, they believe in. Not bullshit. Not airy-fairy talk about winning battles.
she doesn't identify as a socialist like Bernie Sanders. Like, they talked about Bernie supporters in the same way that David Pakman is now talking about modern day, DSA.
I could probably spend
$39
I could probably spend $39 on a video and make one. See him cry, but I don't care. Actually, I don't wish anyone to cry. I just wish people to
2026. But again, what has actually changed? Very little.
Oh. Yeah, completely agree.
Believe that.
I see what
Do
you're
I think people
about.
should be homeless?
Sorry, I'll cut this out if it's not true, but chat's saying that Bob Dylan died, and I had to verify that.
Is it true?
I'm waiting to verify.
No. Can I point to things that have been done in St. Louis and in Salt Lake City to just give people housing and how it's actually cheaper than having them on the streets? Yes, for homeless folks, that absolutely. But
can you point to things? Oh my God, what's the smug smile?
I'm not a take away private ownerships, and then then you're simply not part of the same movement. This is not everybody, but these are some of the conversations I've had. So I feel
take away private ownership, and he keeps repeating this stuff like, oh, they're coming to take away private businesses, and like the communists are going to come and take your business away and all this stuff. And it's like, again, have we seen any evidence of that? Who would you consider like the top two most popular elected officials that represent the DSA right now, Zach?
I mean, I don't think Bernie Sanders is technically DSA, so I would say like AOC and I mean
Zoran.
Zoran. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah. If we're talking like Zoran counts, then for sure it's Zoran and then AOC.
That's who comes to mind for me as well. And I feel like most people, if they think of like DSA aligned candidates, that's who they're thinking about. They're not thinking about, and neither of those candidates have ever advocated for like, we're going to come to your local mom and pop diner and say the government's in charge of this now.
Like I said, the DSA platform is something that we can just look to as a goal and make sure that the candidates are endorsed by them because we know that they vetted them. We know that they're good candidates. That's all we need. And we need to vote for them. It doesn't mean those policies they're pie in the sky. Yeah, sure. Describe them that way. Say we can't get there. We need to lower our expectations. Understandable argument. I get it. However, you have to have a goal, and we've never had it before. The Democratic Party has never had a set goal like this. And if everyone wants to pretend like all of a sudden we're going to have public housing, it doesn't happen like that. It's a long struggle. It's going to take another 10 years of this DSA even to be empowered to even embody that full platform. Even if we tried, Even if everything worked and didn't get resistance and get billions of dollars spent against us, right? Like, see what I mean? Like, no.
Under control of the kitchen.
And once people understand what this platform is and how it's going to help them more than help the billionaire, they're going to be on board immediately. Even if they're fucking ex-MAGA, I guarantee it.
This is now a state-run diner, right? Like, that's just not fucking happening. I honestly wish we'd see more of that energy when it comes to certain sectors. Obviously not restaurants.
I mean, AOC is a totally milquetoast choice at this point. Like, there's nothing about her policies that are far left-wing at all. Anyone else that tells you that she has those kinds of policies is lying about her. Like Fox News, yells about her being a communist. She's not. She's simply a reasonable leftish politician that you would find in Europe, okay? A normal left politician in Europe. That's all she is. That's it. A moderate even.
And stuff like that. But when it comes to certain sectors,
she would be a moderate.
Nationalizing oil, for example, I think is a great idea. Something that we should lean into. Nationalizing a lot of resources of that.
100%. I'd vote for her too. Yeah. And I would know that it would be my responsibility, whatever, or as a voter, number one, to vote for her, but then to push her for the policies I want. And I think she might be more open to it than fucking Trump. So, yeah. And I know she's more open to it than anyone else that's come before her in the Democratic Party, because none of those people have listened before. And she listens. She does.
Variety. But when it comes down to it, really the only industry that's ever truly threatened that I see is like the private health insurance.
I mean, if the Democratic
industry,
Party ends up fucking electing Newsom, then I'm going to, of course. I mean, like, he's my governor. Like I said, I already said I'd take him over. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, totally. And guys, I swear to God, I'm not making this up. I was having a conversation with my dad about gas prices the other day, right?
But I don't think we need to go Galvin Newsom milquetoast. That's not going to win. In fact, if we go Galvin Newsom milquetoast liberal politician again, we're going to lose, and we're going to lose to something else that's MAGA 2.0 or Trump again, because he'll be able to fuck with the vote enough, or I don't know, he'll do some shit.
And he straight up, he was like, we're going to have to just have the government own some of this fucking oil so that the people in America can afford it. We're going to just have the oil that we save in America. We're going to have to give Americans access to it first. And I said, Dad, do you know what you're telling me right now? You're becoming a socialist because you want to nationalize the oil industry. And we've killed tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people in South America for trying to do just that. You're now on our team with socializing the oil. And he was like, you know what, son? You might have got me there. That's one of those socialist things I can get behind.
You see, and he agrees. And he's like, sounds like his dad is probably a boomer, and has those typical boomer views. But like I said, this is something that is the core root of everyone's fucking pain too. You know what I mean? It goes deeper than just like, oh, it's a politician. And that's why the right is scared too.
Because everybody thinks it's stupid that we pump a bunch of oil in America, then sell it on a global market and make it so impossible for people at home to afford it.
Yep, 100%. Also, it seems that Bob Dylan is alive and well, from what I can tell.
Yeah, sorry I fell for that, Cap. I just had to find out when I saw like 3 people in a row be like, Bob Dylan's dead. And I'm like, you fuckers keep trying to distract me while I'm roasting David Pakman. I'm going to have to cut this out of the clip later.
That's how David Pakman, his bots are in chat being like, just say anything to distract them from making coherent criticisms of my bullshit ideology. But they might like Bob Dylan. Say he's dead. That'll distract Zach.
Yeah, I do like Bob Dylan.
These hippies, they like Bob Dylan, right? Just tell them he's dead.
One of these conversations is very different today than it was 8-10 years ago.
So again, how is it any fucking different? The way people at the time, the way establishment Democrats at the time talked about Bernie bros is the exact same way that David Pakman is now talking about just DSA supporters and the people that comprise this new and exciting flank of populism that is represented by Zoran and Daria Liza and all these exciting, fresh candidates that are winning across the country. And again, not just in places like New York City, but in places like Colorado and hopefully soon Maine. Yeah. We have so many good candidates. And honestly, this just comes off as total fear mongering. It comes off like Fox News fear mongering. Oh, they're gonna take over your business or whatever. Like they're coming for the private sector. They're gonna roll up to your bodega and turn it into a government-owned bodega or something. When it's like that's not even fucking happening. I think Zoran made like 3 like city-run grocery stores.
Yep.
It's not like he seized 3 privately.
You know what he did? He's pulling a capitalism. He's reducing the price by 30% mandatory for the month on certain things. What's that going to do? Interesting that he can get stuff at a 30% discount. And the store's just going to not make money on on that stuff. And apparently it's going to be, the stuff you need the most. The basics. Which is fucking awesome. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Especially right now. And how is that communism? It's regulation.
Owned grocery stores and said, planted the communist flag outside the fucking hammer and sickle and said, this is property of the DSA now. Like, that's not happening.
Yeah, totally. No. And then he even was able to cite examples in places like Iowa, right? And places like Alabama, where it's like, oh yeah, here's a city-run grocery store.
I mean, co-ops are city-run grocery stores too, but they're run by the people that run them and own it, the co-op. And they could also charge lower prices.
Right? Because there was nobody else that was going to run the grocery store for the 150 people that lived here, right? So yeah, they had to pull some tax money. They had to figure it out. They had to get a grant from the state. It was like, hey, if you want this historic part of the country to stay here and not just be empty, well, we have to find a way to give people a grocery store so they can eat. They've done that like in deep red areas. But Kyle Kalinske, our boy, weighs in on Twitter responding to this clip here saying, imagine going on a left bashing tour at the exact same time NSPM7 is specifically targeting the left for, quote, terrorism in a new Red Scare. Absolutely depraved.
Yeah.
And that is such an important way of laying this out, right? It's such an important way of framing this. Because why? Because what they're doing is allying themselves with MAGA, with Donald Trump, with Narco Rubio, with all of the most nefarious, pernicious, fascist powers of the government. They're allying with them against people like Hasan Piker. They're allying with them against people like AOC, against people like Zohran Mamdani, against people like Rashida Tlaib, Summer Lee, against people like all this new slate of soon-to-be elected politicians that are coming with the DSA endorsement. Claire Valdez, Daria Lisa Chevalier, as Gavin mentioned, hopefully Troy Jackson.
And they want to be able to say what?
Abdul Al-Sayed, he's not officially DSA, but he has a very, very similar politics to DSA and a very similar worldview to DSA, and he will be another great example of the efficacy of these politics in a place like Michigan, the Midwest, the Rust Belt. Right?
Or abolish credit card debt. That'd be some fucked up shit if he did, though, get arrested. I don't know, man.
Flyover country. Okay, so we're winning in Maine. We're winning in New York. We're winning in Colorado. We're winning in California. We're winning everywhere. And these guys have said, I'm going to side with the literal fascist movement to try and take the legs out from underneath them because I disagree on 5% of things.
Yeah, of course. 100%. Look, can we zoom in just a little bit on this so we can see in crystal clear
bundle
HD,
of motherfucking sticks. A bundle of sticks they have to stick together. Hello? That's why they're fascist. Hello? Motherfucking the metaphor of the word fascist. Fascist. Look it up.
This absolutely glorious take from Kyle Kalinske, calling David Pakman and his commentary absolutely
Florida
great.
if I was
I love to see it. I love to see it because, it's great to see Kyle take the gloves off. It's a little bit of a throwback to the older, feistier Kyle when it came to the energy he directed at liberals, shit libs like David Pakman. Kyle's gotten a little bit comfy with the libs, and I don't necessarily fault the strategy. I think that there's some merit to it. He's like, we got to work with these libs to beat Trump. because Trump is this big threat, and we all got to unite to take him out. But I think the shit from David Pakman really reminds Kyle Kulinski of why he sort of hated these shit libs in the first place, which is that Kyle's is happy to work with them to defeat Trump. Kyle got on board with Kamala Harris. He was coconut pilled as fuck. He was making tons of pro Kamala Harris videos when it mattered, when it came time to get the job done and defeat Trump. But here's David Pakman, who's not exactly doing the same thing for the progressive left. When it's the progressive left's turn, when they're the ones rising and when they have the momentum behind them, David Pakman wants to come out here and basically sound like a Fox News anchor, pearl clutching over like a line in the DSA platform that basically none of the candidates even ran on anyway. Stuff like that, fear mongering about socialism and communism and Hasan Piker wearing a suit or whatever. And Kyle's like, what the fuck? Like, I thought we were trying to defeat Trump here. Why are you coming out here sounding like a fucking Fox News host and literally siding with MAGA as they target the same people that you're criticizing with total bullshit, phony criticisms like the suit and the communism stuff. So I think it's really refreshing to see Kyle just take the gloves off and say enough is enough. Fuck you. This is depraved, and it is depraved. And I like to see Kyle say that too, because again, he's had a friendly relationship with David Pakman in the past. I think they've even referred to each other as friends, stuff like that. So it's nice to see Kyle say, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm not going to keep protecting this guy for no reason. I'm not going to keep omitting my criticisms. I'm actually going to lean into them and identify them accurately as being absolutely depraved.
Totally agree. And without fail, here comes right on cue, Nebraska Steve, otherwise known as Destiny, to try and glom onto some clout, to try and glom onto some attention. And he comes after Kyle and he says, I'm sorry, but if the little bit of pushback that some Dems are giving you guys is too much, you are all woefully unequipped to deal with the modern Republican Party. And my response to that is, dog, all of your politicians lose.
Destiny.
All of the people who support your policies
You're
lose.
irrelevant,
Andrew
dude.
Cuomo goes up against Zohran Mamdani, lost. Haley Stevens
corner.
going up against Abdul El Sayed, gonna lose. Okay, Graham Plattner gets out of the way, and we have Troy Jackson going up against Susan Collins. Guess what? Susan Collins is gonna freaking lose. When Kamala Harris went up against Donald Trump, guess what? Kamala lost. If Bernie had gone up against Donald Trump, he would have won in a landslide, not even up for debate. Okay, so you're the one that's unequipped to deal with the modern Republican.
Unfortunately, according to Piker, that is not true. He has never received a subpoena. So he said on stream, by the way. I've heard him personally say that. They have not served the subpoena, though. And yeah, it's funny, though, because Fox had said that he had been subpoenaed, but he never got subpoenaed, according to what he said. So I'm like, okay.
Republican Party, good. Not the left.
Yeah, and also,
which probably
Kyle's
means they didn't figure out a good reason to do it. A good enough reason yet. So, by the way, you can look up Track AIPAC if you're interested. But if you look at the list, of course, it's the usual people that we've always talked about. Miriam Edelson and the WhatsApp founder is like the #1 donor. Jan Koum, this Ukrainian-American guy. But the other thing that's notable about it is that you're thinking about, okay, where does this money come from AIPAC? Of course, it comes from people. They donate too. But it costs a lot of fucking money to do what AIPAC does, like the by-elections and, buy ads, everything they do. So the thing I noticed about the list is there's 21 billionaires that donate to AIPAC. 21 billionaires. So I got an idea. Here's a way to fucking wreck AIPAC is wreck those billionaires. Every single billionaire that's on that list needs to be taxed till they're not a billionaire by the U.S. government. Not communism. It's capitalism, bitch. Yeah. Taxing billionaires is not communism. It's capitalism. I hate to break it to you guys. Just because billionaires get taxed 20% versus 50% doesn't mean we're all of a sudden in communism. It means we're still in capitalism. What do you mean?
state left is afraid of a little bit of pushback or whatever. Destiny wants to represent this
Fucking
as.
argument's
The problem is
crazy,
that these
bro.
are bullshit smears right out of the Fox News playbook. That's the issue that Kyle has. And it is depraved to repeat Fox News smears against some of the most actually popular politicians within the Democratic.
In fact, I want to stop watching this and just say one other thing about that. Like, if I was to run for fucking office, I would run on that. I'm going to tax every single billionaire who's a donor to AIPAC until they're not billionaires. I give you fair warning. Once I'm in office, if you're still a billionaire and you're still donating to AIPAC, you're going to get taxed till you're not a billionaire. Period. Targeted taxing. And I would run on that. Bet you I'll win. That'd be sick. See, there's things we can do, you guys. You just got to be creative. If I can bro science some shit on my fucking tiny Twitch channel, you know these motherfuckers got ideas, and they're just not doing anything. So, all we need to do is get the people in there that will actually do something and not listen to their goddamn handlers because they don't have any. Their handlers haven't paid for their campaign. All right? We have. You understand the difference? That's it. Oh, yeah. 100%. No way he could go to Russia. He can't go to Turkey. He said that himself. Like, Erdogan will have him in a gulag. Apparently. He's never said why, but he assumes because of what he says here about Turkey. That's crazy though, right? I mean, all you are is a Twitch streamer with like fucking 6 million followers or 10 or whatever. Who'd have thunk back 10, 20 years ago even that even I'd be sitting here yapping about politics on Twitch? Nope. Shit changes though. Which is good as well. No, they don't. China doesn't. I don't think China likes people talking shit about their dear leader. I don't think you can be talking shit on the streets about Kim Jong-un either. You know? So, yeah. Here we go. I finally got my fucking account back. Jesus Christ. All right. I can show this.
Absolutely. And hopefully there will be no mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt, except
no
for
mail-in
illness,
ballots.
disability, military deployment.
That's right. No mail-in ballots. Can't have them. Don't tell them I vote by mail-in ballot because I actually live in Florida. That's right. I have to send my ballot in. Only for me. I'm the only one that can mail in. Even though California does it successfully. And there's only ever been voter fraud on a level that is so small as to be statistically not relevant whatsoever in a discussion about whether or not the votes are right or not. You know what I mean? So, fuck that shit. All right, what else do I got here? I don't want to watch that. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's listen to this guy whine a little bit for a second.
Is gone. Water tower place is gone because of all the people don't want to live around that. Want to live.
People don't want to live around that. I don't know, bro, but there's this guy on TikTok that keeps talking about Trump. And he said something the other day like to the effect that Trump doesn't have a roof of his mouth anymore because he takes so much stimulants, and his like roof of his mouth has been burned away. Are you fucking kidding me? He's yeah, I'll bet. You're right. It figures. He's like, what do you mean it takes 6 months to make an interceptor missile? Why? We need to change that. Get Raytheon on the phone. We need to talk to Lockheed Martin. That's right. Build. What's that? Healthcare? I'll give you guys healthcare. After you're dead, bitches. Yeah, in 2 to 3 years. That's the thing. It's like, Trump's like, billions of dollars are coming in. They're investing billions of dollars. Yeah, after you're dead. Like, nothing gets shovel ready for 10 years in America, ever. Even if you greenlight it. Even if you fucking eliminate the red tape.
Want to live around that. People don't want to live around that. You know, in Chicago, it rolled on into the summer, and it wasn't, you know, let's say, the anger of the oppressed and the disenfranchised.
So
they were looting. They were looting and carjacking. The criminals.
Yeah.
Okay, he's talking about. He's so racist.
Who are?
Mostly black.
Mostly black.
Nick, you know, I
Is that not true?
Yeah, maybe, Nick. I don't know. I just don't. I don't know why you use the platform that you have to make that your target. Are you saying that the problem with the 26-year-old white kid?
No, Hunter Biden. I'm sorry. Nick Fuentes' platform is only about that. That's all he's got. He has nothing else.
Living in suburbia outside of Chicago.
He's literally more relevant because you're talking to him right now, in my opinion.
And his feeling of being disenfranchised is because there was looting and rioting in Minneapolis by black people. And it's black people that are doing it.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with Austin Metcalf was that he got stabbed in the neck at a track meet. And the problem with our city in Chicago is that
like every guy that's grown up knows a guy this age, like Nick Fuentes, who has this condescending, like, I know everything attitude. These guys. Everyone knows one of them.
Magnificent Mile is gone. Water Tower Place is gone because of all the crime.
Nick, and the time of an entire generation of African Americans is that they've been getting killed by cops for decades. What are you talking about, Nick?
Because they commit crime. Listen.
Because they commit crime.
Nick,
what?
That's not true. It's not true. Are you saying the police?
Are you thinking Lockheed Martin are aggressively expanding manufacturing capacity? Yeah, great. You know, I hate to be brash, but fuck new jobs. Fuck some jobs. I'm like, I have a reason to be pissed off, because like I've been in the energy sector for too long, and I thought by now I'd be fucking rolling in the dough. I'd have instead of the fucking bullshit I got behind me, there'd be cash behind me, and after stream I'd be rolling in it. Okay. Because that's where I should be. Because that's the actual need of what we need for this renewable energy bullshit. So whenever people say, yeah, we're going to create some fucking jobs. This isn't about what you said. You just brought it up. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you, the job. What are they? Oh, they're not. Oh, fuck you then. I don't want jobs in defense. Those aren't jobs to me. Those feel like regression. I want to hear about jobs that mean something. No, I know. But, you know, I'm anti-war, so I'm always going to rant about it.
Brutality as it relates and racism in the police force, in the way in which police treat African Americans. Nick, You could grow up here like I did between Wilmington and Philadelphia. And if you were a black dentist and you lived in Wilmington and you commuted to Philadelphia, the chances of you being pulled over by a state trooper, either Delaware or in Pennsylvania, are about 50 times that would be if it was a white guy. 50 times. And so what you're trying to tell me is that the problem in America right now is that a 26-year-old white kid who lives in suburban Chicago doesn't feel like he has access because he's been canceled or he's been woke, and the problem is black people.
I didn't say the problem's black people.
Well, you just did, Nick. You just
I said the problem is crime, and we know who's doing the crime in Chicago. The carjackings, shootings, teen takeovers. We know why there's no business on the Mag Mile anymore, and it's because they steal cars, they drive them through windows. And listen, black people are some of the biggest victims of the black crime. But we're not allowed to talk about it because of the racial
What do you mean
dimension.
You're not allowed to talk about it? We're talking about it right here.
Hey, guys,
you have a platform in which millions of people listen to you, Nick.
Well, after Elon had to buy Twitter and open it up. It wasn't like that before. I was banned from everything for many years. So no, you weren't allowed it. You're right. We can talk about it now, but that's only because the good guys
Nick,
won.
you went from being banned on Twitter to being on YouTube to creating an entire show. I know you're not, but now you have Kick, and now you have all of these other things. You have an enormous platform. I want to find common ground of how much of a shithead Donald Trump is. We can get there. Okay. What I don't understand is how you didn't recognize that in 2016, and how you didn't recognize that in 2020, and how you didn't recognize that in 2024. Because Donald Trump Because Donald Trump hasn't changed. Donald Trump hasn't changed at all. Donald Trump has been Donald Trump since he came out of the womb of a woman that was an immigrant to this country. And so, what I want to know though is that. I don't know how we get past this idea that the biggest problem that you have that with your personal situation and how you extrapolate that to the situation of other white kids that are your age that feel disenfranchised, that feel left out, that feel they don't have a shot at the American dream is because of black and brown people, because of Mexicans, because of Venezuelans, because of Haitians, because of it's always other, Nick, with you. It seems to me. And I've listened to a lot of the stuff. It's always them. We need to build a wall. Where's the wall, Nick? He never built the wall. Why'd you vote for him in 2020? Why'd you vote for him in 2024?
I didn't vote for him in 2024.
Okay. My point being is that whenever you identify your problem as being something that is other, that you can point to, that's a minority, that is a group of people, that's the Jews, before, remember, all of us, it was the Irish Catholics who were all committing the crime, who weren't allowed into bars, who weren't allowed into, because you know why? Because they were dirty, poor, non-Europeans. They were Irish. Every time it's wrong. Every time history has proven that to be wrong in the United States of America. Every time.
He's not wrong about that.
Inclusion has been our greatest strength. Diversity has been our greatest strength. And I hear you talk about this idea of white culture. What fucking white culture are you talking about, man? What
Shakespeare, Dante, Mozart. We're in Philadelphia, the founding fathers.
Yeah.
That's your white culture.
How about the Count of Monte Cristo? Would you consider that part of our white culture?
Sure.
Okay. Well, it was written by a black man in France in the 1700s.
In a milieu of European civilization.
So what?
Because you're picking out one example. It really is.
I'm not just picking out one example.
It really is.
Nick.
Listen.
Nick, I'm not. I really am not.
Hey guys, I think we're reaching what's called a rock in a hard place. Let's talk about it.
Well, let me respond to this because you're telling me I'm always blaming the other.
No, Nick, for real. Here's the thing, is that the way that you talk and throw out these historical facts, which, by the way, aren't fucking facts. Okay?
Which ones aren't facts?
As it relates to the Civil Rights Movement in 1968, the reason why we're all in the problem that we're in is because the Civil Rights Act passed in 1964. Dr. Martin Luther King was killed and shot by a white racist, white supremacist in 1968 on a balcony of a motel. That's the root of our trouble, because an entire people that have been disenfranchised and enslaved for over 400 years.
We're sick of hearing about that, though. It's 2026.
You may be sick of hearing about it, but you know what? They aren't. And I'll tell you what, Nick, here's the other thing.
Get over it. It's America.
Okay, but Nick, you can say stuff like that, okay, without having to say it like that.
What are you saying, Hunter? Say the same thing different? Yeah, like I said, it's all he's got. Like, that's the problem. Right? Like a simple example. He now has to maintain a certain amount of that in his, like, commentary. Social class discrimination. Most likely, yeah. You're probably right about that. I think we just pretend like there's no classes in America. We do say the middle class and we pander to that. But we don't say the lower class or the upper class, right? Yeah. Right, that's what I mean. But I still don't think I think the only place that has laws about that are like India, right? So like I can call someone a dog, right? Because I'm not referring to their class. Because I'm referring to their class as being dogs. Oh yeah, you could definitely discriminate in California for renters. Down to like, should see some of the posts I've seen in my life. Can't do this, can't do that, can't live here, can't come between these hours. I still want $2,000 a month and $4,000 down payment. Whatever you come up with, it's legal. Yep. Need a background check. Yep. All that good stuff, chat. What was I playing over the weekend? No, I saw chat. I saw what is it? Disclosure Day? Bro. What the fuck was that movie? Like, if that movie's true, I'm supposed to believe that, Steven Spielberg made a true movie, right? That means we have an old alien who can talk to us, and we have like stones we can grab and transport our bodies into other people's bodies and speak and make them control them. And of course, nothing about a ship. There was no ships in it. There's no spacecraft. There's no, just aliens. Yep. WSG gang, what up? What's that mean? I'm not. That's right. What's up? Huh? That was a good movie. That's a good movie. Huh? What up, Miari? Who's that? How's that? Want to do this? Sure, buddy. I mean, I don't necessarily get the movie either, but What I want to know is what the fuck was Disclosure Day? Like, I'm used to Spielberg movies, but is he senile? Yeah, Hail Mary. That was good. I mean, I don't want to see it again. Or maybe I should. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine to be non-learned. What's wrong with the Suns and how he fixed it? Oh, that stuff? The physics? Oh, I see what you mean. I didn't get that part either. I was just like, okay, it was solved. We're good. Oh. But where was that explicitly said? It probably wasn't. You licked him, huh? All right. Yeah, and they came together as two, totally separate entities, you know what I mean? With a common cause. And they overcame all kinds of struggle. So, yeah. That's why I thought it was good. Yeah, yum yum Suns. We love Suns. We love them. Physics is fun. Physics is fun, guys. I enjoy it.
Elon Musk has sat down for an hour with.
That's why I was excited when I heard that there was a new Steven Spielberg film, and it was going to be, aliens coming. But no, it was just a bunch of footage. And people holding rocks. Yeah, like a Kardashev scale, level 10 galaxy where we're sucking up like suns. Right? Yeah. Tardigrades, yeah.
The editor-in-chief of The Economist magazine, where he was challenged on his agitation on behalf of the European far right.
Elon, you have, close to 250 million followers on X.
Yeah. Yeah, like imagine a space tardigrade. Nah.
You say things like,
popular guy.
Quote, civil war in Britain is inevitable. Just a question
on the current
of when.
trends, yes.
I mean, when were you last in the UK?
A few years ago.
This is
exactly.
crazy, by the way.
So I live there. I'm there the whole time. That is nonsense.
You live in a cloistered existence.
No, I don't actually. And the numbers
like I
also
said, this guy's
disprove
going to
what
be
you
our
say.
president.
What numbers?
This guy's going to be our president if we don't win this cycle, guys.
All the numbers about crime. London is a much safer city than any city in the United States. Violent crime in the UK is not where you think it is. In fact, it's coming down.
No, I agree, actually. And I think that movie is approachable to non-science fiction people as well. Normal people, that's who you take. If you want to intro them to science fiction, you take them to that show. It's the perfect intro point, I think. Especially for those people that are like, no, I don't like science fiction. I'll never go to see a science fiction film with you. That's my vote.
You have painted, and
As
because
a
you have so many
huge,
followers, so many
massive science fiction fan, by the way, chat.
Americans believe it, a kind of view that Europe and the UK are.
Unlike this fake piece of shit science fiction fan right here, who, if he was a real science fiction fan, would have learned some of the lessons rather than actually causing
Are kind of, overrun with terrifying Muslim immigrants. There's rape on every corner. There's a sort of civilizational
I haven't
destruction.
said any of those things.
For example, you're posting for, what was it, 48 hours of citizen vigilante.
I mean, they did use science in that show, so that's good too. But physics is changing. The science of physics is changing. You could write a different movie about teleportation now than you could 20 years ago.
That film, which paints a dystopian. I've watched it.
Yes.
It was not fun. I watched it yesterday. It's not a very good movie, but it also paints a dystopian picture of Europe, and it glorifies vigilante violence. It glorifies the murdering of a Muslim immigrant family. I honestly think that it is irresponsible for you to put that up on X.
I think that it's.
By the way, so can a mushroom spore. A psychedelic mushroom spore can also survive space.
It's a movie.
So what if a tardigrade wrote a mushroom spore to Earth? That's how we exist.
And it's worth watching.
Now, I hadn't heard of this movie, Citizen Vigilante. I have to admit, unlike the host there, I haven't watched it yet. I probably never will. It's an action movie starring Armie Hammer. And this is from the synopsis on Wikipedia. So they say, this is not a review, it's just, a synopsis, what happened in it. So spoiler alert, I suppose. In an unnamed European city, a young mother is fatally stabbed in front of her son by a passing migrant. A news report states that parents are afraid to let their children play outside and that women avoid going out after dark. Michael Sanders is a former US Army officer who moved to Europe after inheriting his estranged father's real estate business. He secretly operates as the vigilante citizen, a ruthless vigilante who targets those who have escaped justice. Sanders later meets a teenage rape victim whose 6 migrant attackers were released without punishment because Judge Reinhold, the presiding judge in the case, considered them to be victims too, citing their difficulties integrating into society. The teenage victim tells Sanders that she has been denied justice. Sanders kills Reinhold and stages it as a suicide. The police later link the incident to multiple unexplained deaths involving judges. Sanders visits the home of Yusuf, one of the rapists, and takes him and his family hostage. As Yusuf's relatives excuse his action and blame the victim, Sanders orders Yusuf to summon his accomplices to the apartment. Once they arrive, Sanders executes Yusuf.
Actually makes a lot more sense just to see this described rather than even watching it, because it doesn't make it. It's like, keep in mind the star of this movie, Citizen Vigilante, is Armie Hammer. I think is his name. The most racist motherfucker in the UK, apparently.
His family and the other attackers. So, as I say, I haven't watched it, probably never will. But from the synopsis on Wikipedia, I mean, this is like a far-right fever dream, which is also like a far-right fever dream where there is this sort of protagonist who they can all identify with, who's just sort of like the legal system, the police, they're all out to protect the migrants. You've got to be a strong, very violent man to protect your women, essentially, is the message we're getting from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like far-right AI slop, except it's not AI, it's just like human slop. I mean, that's unbelievable.
It does feel like AI slop, actually.
But I think also, that interaction with...
Oh, you know what? The script was written by AI. Yes. I guarantee it.
The interviewer. Firstly...
She's called Zanny Minton Beddoes.
wow, that's a name.
It's quite
that's
a name,
a real
isn't it?
name, yeah.
Editor-in-chief of The Economist.
Yeah, the editor-in-chief. So I watched more of the whole interview, and like the first thing that really struck me is these like legacy media like journalists really don't understand who Elon Musk is talking to.
Just accept the fact that you're gonna have to agree that things are alive all the way down to the fucking molecule, even lower probably. Yep, you're gonna just have to accept it. It's a thing they're gonna start teaching probably.
Over and over again, she says, well, you're not that popular and you're not that and don't you think that people won't like it that you say that, which is complete fodder for how Elon Musk wants himself to be thought of. You know, she thinks that, my audience is the audience who are watching this, you know, the Economist audience who will be completely on side with everything I'm saying or see what I'm saying as having a lot of clarity. Whereas Elon Musk is treating that interview as like a platform to get clips, to circulate amongst his followers who are, you know.
No, but seriously, quantum mechanics might be proven us otherwise.
The far right online trolls or whatever, we're being told by like a mainstream establishment journalist that, you know, he's unpopular or he's not very polite or he's not very
trolling now.
You know, he's not very upstanding, is like compounds the myth that he wants to construct about himself. But I think the whole thing about London, you know, London really, it lives rent-free in the minds of the far right.
I wish I lived rent-free in London.
Mate, go. And I'm going to get onto that. But, you know, it lives rent-free in the minds of like the far right, and it has for a really long time. I don't know if you remember that guy, Anders Breivik, who was that Norwegian guy who assassinated dozens of young people at a climate camp, and he had this really long manifesto, like analysis of society. He was a far right guy, and in it, like, he goes,
"Stop being so aggressive."
On and on and on about Tower Hamlets and how like Tower Hamlets is where the whole of Europe is going, and it was emblematic of what's going to happen to Europe if it keeps letting in all these Muslim immigrants. You have, you know, the idea of the no-go zone in London being this fixture of Fox News, and you know it.
And also, Elon Musk is trying to import this to America, the same vibe, like yeah, dude, Chicago's covered. It's terrible.
Kind of trickles down even beyond people I would consider far right. I was in York a few months ago and I got chatting to this woman in this cafe, and she was really sweet. Like, I have no reason to believe. In fact, I'm sure that she's not far right at all. We talked about a lot of different things, and she seemed to have like a fairly progressive politics. But when, you know, she asked me like where I'm from, and I said, oh, I'm from London. And it was amazing. She just kind of was like, oh my God, like how, what's it like? Like, it was like I told her that I was fighting in Vietnam. Like, she was like, what's it like? You know, I keep seeing online all these things. Come to find out, this woman lived in Tottenham in the 80s. And look, like, Tottenham has changed for a lot of reasons. And a lot of them aren't good. You know, people are being displaced, being gentrified. You know, a lot of the core reasons why Tottenham was a tough place to live in the 80s haven't been solved. They've just been kind of pushed out. But the idea that someone who lived in Tottenham in the 80s, when it was objectively a tough place to be, thinks that London now is this like cesspit of horror and theft and violence is so, it shows you that even beyond just the far right, this trickle-down effect of this idea that places that have high immigration have become inhospitable.
Yup, and she's saying the same thing I'm saying, kind of where they're saying, oh yeah, it's kind of happened in America too.
Specifically to like white people is so widespread, when the reality is that, yes, in many ways, London is a very, very difficult city to live in, but it's not because Whitechapel has a sign in Bengali. It's because rents are out of control. It's because austerity.
It's because capitalism. So you get it. It's like distraction is, oh, look at this group of people committing these crimes. Let's distract everyone from the actual problem. Yeah, you know, Elon Musk is one of those guys that we probably all know that once he goes full in on being a bigot, he's going to be fully a bigot, right? I mean, he's going to lean into it. I don't care.
Has destroyed our third spaces, has destroyed our youth centres, because our housing market is basically a casino rather than something that actually shelters people. That's like inequality and poverty is why London is becoming a very difficult place to live in. If anything,
yeah, it ain't because there's immigrants. Okay.
Migration and diversity is the thing that keeps it going. It's the thing that makes it feel like something that anything other than just this husk for the super wealthy, like this playground for the super wealthy. So London has always had that because it's always been a really diverse city. But with the
yeah, and London only has good food because it has a diverse population. If it was only whites there, it would be it wouldn't be London. People will be dead in the streets. You can't live on blood sausage and burnt toast. I'm sorry. I'm done. No, thank you. I don't want baked beans every day. I'm good. Mushy peas and pies, mate. No, I'm good, mate.
The kind of explosion of this algorithm-driven interface, mate, that like shapes how people imagine places. It has become this, you know, people who have never stepped foot in London.
Some jellied eel.
Think of it as, you know, the final destination if immigrants continue to be allowed into Europe. And I think it's quite a nice destination. We just need some better, just need some more wealth redistribution. And then it will be wonderful.
A lot of it I come back to a lot, but a lot of it does come back to the smartphone, which is when I look at the videos I see of London, it is of like people smashing windows and like a gang sort of robbing a shop and no one stopping them. And they are shocking and they are bad. And, you know.
Okay. I'm so tired of hearing about poor old stores getting their windows cracked in and how violent against capitalism this is. It is a symptom of the fact of what she just said, the imbalance. Adjust the scales. You won't have the robberies. You guys are dumb as fuck. God.
That shouldn't happen, but it used to happen more and just there was no one there to film it.
And also,
so normally two people, the person in the shop would have seen it and maybe 3 passers-by.
Yeah.
Now it gets uploaded online and 1 million people see it and like, it's oh my God, that's what London's like.
And it's all they see. And in a sense, kind of conflict and things like that is part of urban life, like it always has been. And even if we were to take this idea that like violence has increased in London, which it hasn't, if we are to accept that, it's because of inequality. It's because of poverty.
But it hasn't happened.
But it hasn't. And like the reason that London is tough, you know, as someone who's lived in London all my life, and I'm sure you'll agree, in many ways, London has become safer and better. The ways in which it has become tougher is not because of immigration.
I just want to pick you up on something because you said if it had got more violent, it would have been because of inequality.
Yeah.
But inequality has increased and violence has got less. So are you not? Have you not made a sort of argumentative jump you didn't really need to make there?
It's more that when we see things like increased theft, increase, you know, petty crime, and all these things that have populated the imagination of London.
Yeah, I know, right?
More often than not, the root cause of that is inequality and poverty. It's not immigration. That's the point I was trying to make. So there have been other consequences to the rise in inequality. They happen to not be increase in violence, which is a great thing. But I also didn't want to act like London is this kind of safe haven that is so welcoming and wonderful, because there's a lot of difficulty and a lot of other kinds of violence that exist in the city. It's just not the kind that people like Elon Musk want us to believe. It's economic violence.
Let's look at another part of the interview, which actually obviously the far right stuff is terrible. This is the part though that actually I think that most people, if they watched it, would be the most shocked by. And when I listened to it, I was incredibly outraged.
Do you think there's still a 10 to 20% chance that killer robots mean the end of humanity?
Yeah.
That's a high P-doom. as they say.
Huh? Well, in the long run, we're all dead, of course. So I mean, according to the standard model of physics, the end of the universe is a long, boring,
deflection,
sort of thin, gray soup of gradual cooling. Meaning it's sort of the heat death of the universe is called. So now if the heat death of the universe is in fact the outcome for our reality, then it really is all about the journey. For the longest time, I declined to participate in AI, or which created OpenAI as essentially a counterweight to Google, because at the time they had more or less a monopoly on AI. In creating OpenAI and then having Anthropic spin out of that, and now currently Anthropic's the leader in AI. I mean, these actions have actually resulted in knock-on effects that accelerated AI, which wasn't really my intention. So it just seems like all roads lead to acceleration of AI. So then I'm like, okay, well, you can just sort of be sad about it or join the club, I suppose.
I need food.
So the argument is, in his own words, obviously there's debate about whether or not the idea of AI bringing about some sort of apocalypse is genuine or not. As you know, I think it's real, or at least I think that there are enough very smart people without vested interest saying it's real that I think we should take it very seriously. But he, by his own account, thinks there is a 10 to 20% chance that this technology is going to kill everyone. And then he says, well, the universe is going to end at some point anyway. So, if it ends, it ends. And then sort of when pushed about, if you seriously think the technology you're building might kill everyone, like a very high, 1 in 5 chance of killing everyone, why are you doing it? He said, well, I tried to make this company OpenAI so that would sort of help be a counterbalance to Google. But now OpenAI is making the AI and then Anthropic. So what can you do? I might as well join the club, and if we die, we die.
What he said.
And it's like, I don't think that's acceptable. Like he might be quite relaxed about the possibility of human extinction.
Yeah,
right? Because he's had a good time. He's lived a good life. I don't know how much he cares about his children. I know that he's disowned one of them because they were trans, so he's probably not a particularly good father. But the idea that sort of, the universe is going to end at some point, so if my technology kills everyone, well, what can you do? You might as well look on the bright side. Like, Dahlia, I think that clip should be radicalizing to everyone, really, who watches it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing with Elon Musk is that he is not a tech genius. He actually, obviously, he probably has more of an understanding of the technology than your average person. But within the world of AI, he's certainly not at the forefront of the expertise. He's actually just like a rich charlatan who chats too much, and that but the problem is that he's also got a form, not only like an amount of power, but a form of power that is actually quite unprecedented, I think, historically. Because of course, we've always had very powerful states, or we've had very powerful industrialists, we've had very powerful business owners, but people who own infrastructures like Twitter or X, I hate calling it X, I feel like I'm giving in to him. If you think about like an infrastructure like Twitter, like a comms infrastructure, there has never been a communications infrastructure that reaches the territories, like the scale and territory that X reaches historically. And it's owned by one man. And one man seems to be able to use it, to so easily use it in ways that can shape people's opinions globally. Like that kind of infrastructure has never existed. And it makes the monopolies of the past, like Ford or, General Motors or these other kind of big industries that have been very, very powerful. SpaceX it makes them look like local businesses. When you think about the kinds of infrastructures that Elon Musk is building and owns, SpaceX, it's not just it's not just about shooting rockets into a space. It's like this vertically integrated, like manufacturing and comms infrastructure that exceeds any state, that is so deeply powerful. And again, is headed by one man who has a level of wealth that, again, has never been matched historically. And so it's a form of power that we are not used to fighting. I don't think we fully understand how to kind of tackle. And then on top, like that alone is a problem and is like a cancer in society. And the fact that he's also a racist idiot just makes the whole thing like even more apocalyptic. And but I mean, it in the rest of the interview, you know, he talks about his vision for the possible utopia of AI. You know, he says the dystopia is that it kills us all. But his utopia is equally dystopic to me because he says that, you know, in a utopian version of AI, where it's going to become more powerful than humans in 5 years. And what's going to happen is that everyone's going to have everything they want. Now, not only is that delusional, but it's also like, I don't think that that's a very good thing. Like, I don't think it's a good thing.
None of us do.
That, you know, humans release all autonomy to these, you know, to these AIs and can have everything they want whenever they want. Like, why does he get to decide? That sounds like a spiritually bereft society to me. And
there's talk about Russia developing means to take down SpaceX. I mean, because I mean, SpaceX has become, I understand they run military side by side. There's another radio on that fucking satellite. And other cameras too, apparently, that the government uses. Either that or it's on a different channel. I don't know. But they got their own fucking uplink.
It's also delusional and impossible because even if you strip away all of the politics and the spirituality and the culture of AI, fundamentally on a material level, AI is destroying our ecosystem. Like, we've just done a story on wildfires. AI uses unbelievable amounts of water. It destroys.
Yeah, the problem with SpaceX is it's now tied into AI, right? Yeah, no, true. I mean, it's going to be the same. You're going to have similar, you're going to have nuclear weapons, quote unquote, against the satellites and drones. Because that's the new war. No one's going to be piloting an airplane anywhere in 30 years. Guarantee it. There's not going to be any pilots. The pilots are going to be sitting in a chair. Could be me sitting here with my triple fiber uplink or whatever, quantum internet.
Destroys ecosystems. It destroys, like, through mining, through water use. So that alone is going to make everyone's lives shitter. Even before you get to, like, what is it going to do to us, like, cognitively and spiritually and culturally, to outsource human things like creation and writing and all of this to machines. Like, I don't even think his vision for a utopian AI society is desirable, let alone his dystopian one, which is probably more likely.
And it is, I don't understand how does AGI get us all really nice houses, I suppose? Because that's...
Well, exactly.
The competition is often over stuff that I don't really see how there is a technological fix for it. I suppose he's very into robotics, so you get these robots that everyone decides, let's change planning law, and then the robots build.
No, you can 3D print the houses. It's fine. That's not the problem. Not the problem. Problem is capitalism. It's not being able to print houses, which you can do. You can even print houses with hemp.
Builds really nice apartments for everyone in the next 5 years. It doesn't sound particularly plausible.
But there's more to that than just the things that can be automated, right? It's what, like, he always says, like, oh, driverless cars, like, we're on the cusp of driverless cars. And it's like, okay, we might be on the cusp of a car that can self-drive in very particular conditions. But in order for us to have a society that has driverless cars, we actually would have to, like, completely redesign all of the roads. And, like, why, like, if to use London as an example, like, just pave over the whole of London and reconstruct it so that a driverless car can function efficiently and effectively in it. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I feel like the driverless cars might get really good even in complex cities.
But what if we invested in public transport?
Yeah, I mean, I'm indifferent about driving cars, but I suppose
They're trying to figure shit out. It's like, it's capitalism. It's the problem. Yeah, I fucking love New Zealanders, by the way. A lot of California people talk about going to New Zealand. It feels like California 2.0. But do you guys have infrastructure there? Like, do you have fiber internet? Not for us. It's impossible to live there for an American. Y'all hate us. Oh, I'm sure you guys don't like Trumpers. Your government's never been a hard right-leaning, from what I know. This fucking thing with the Queen, though. What the fuck? Explain that to me. Yeah. No, man. No, I'm Canadian. Don't you know? Yeah, I'm from Canada. Don't you know? Do they hit you with it? Don't you know? Or they're too lazy. They're like, no, I'm Canadian. No, man, I'm Canadian. That's funny. I think I have one more video. Where the fuck did it go? Right. You gotta be like, is this a Trumper? Okay, we don't want to watch that shit, man. Yeah. Yeah, how the hell is Trump? How's MAGA bleeding to fucking Maori land? What the fuck? That's what I mean. Fuck. Now Argentina too, right? I mean, I totally blame that on the fuck is his name now? God damn it. Okay. Here we go. Let's pretend like we're kids.
What would happen if Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez became president? Oh man, this should be a fun one. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC, is just 36 years old, but is already one of the most well-known figures in all of American politics, mostly because of where she stands politically. She is a member of the Democratic Socialists of America and was first elected to Congress back in 2018 when she upset 10-term incumbent Joseph Crowley, who was also the chairman of the House Democratic Caucus. Since that point, AOC's brand.
So you're saying you got races too, which makes sense, yes, and they're not the smart ones, okay. Perpetual leases.
And name has only continued to grow, and in a time when many Americans are calling for.
It's like, mate, I want to fucking extend my lease another 300 years. Okay, you're good. So all I gotta do is buy a perpetual lease down there, and I can just live on the land, right? Is that my? This one trick. Is that mine?
Drastic change, her name has been floated for the 2020.
Yeah, that's some disgusting shit, bro. Right? That's like some Palestinian shit. I'm sure that y'all feel like a lot of simpatico with Palestinian type of shit. Also, they were saying your lease would no longer be good, right? Mm-hmm. Of course. That's apartheid. Am I right?
A presidency, whether she even runs a...
That's a precursor to it if it ain't in it. If it ain't it. Did the ACT party, did it pass? To this day, you still don't. Fuck. Fuck this fucking world. I know.
Still very much up for debate. It's probably more likely that she's going to challenge Chuck Schumer for one of New York.
Yeah. I was in South Africa in the 90s.
Senate spots instead, but that's also less fun. So today we're going to take a little bit of time to take a deep dive into what a potential AOC presidency could look like in 2028. I'm going to do my absolute best to give you an honest look at what her policy may be.
That's why I understood the Palestinian thing and then came to realize the Indian thing in America, because we're taught otherwise.
And how she may try to implement it if she were to ever win the presidency, as well as a scenario where she wins the presidency and what she would do in her first 100 days. If you've watched any of my previous What If election videos, you'll probably recognize this format. The primary difference here, though, is that instead of looking into the past, we're going to try to predict the future. Before we get into that, though, please do keep in mind that this is all in good fun. I am going to try to predict her platform as accurately as possible, but it's very possible that I might miss something. If that is the case, it's not intentional. Additionally, while I will try to be as specific as possible.
Okay, no. That's bullshit. Either of you got a good video? Oh yeah, it's terrible. Yes, they hide it dramatically. It's broadly mentioned 4 or 5 times, but like only under the pretense that it was like the description is so vague and makes it sound bad, but like inevitable. You know what I mean? That's the vibe I got. Yeah. I mean, even most Americans don't know that. It would take some people till they were 30 to realize that they were lied to in university, or they just continue to go with that narrative. It's actually crazy. Like their friends could tell them otherwise their whole life, and they're still going to be like, yeah, whatever. I still believe what the history book told me. The history book is God. It's like the Bible. Yeah, uni level's pretty good. But you have to take like advanced, history courses. Used to. Now especially because woke is gone, but back in the day, we were better at it now than we used to be. You know what I mean? Unless it was a liberal university. So but I don't know when it changed because I haven't been in the college system for so long. I just talk to people that have come out of it, millennials, and I get their perspective, and I realize, yeah, they've learned a lot more than we used to about it, which is the reason I'm like, okay, yeah, all of our politicians need to be millennials, period. They just do. It's their turn. The good ones, of course. Only the good ones. No videos, guys? Okay, that's fine. I gotta find one more. And then, shit, man. Capitalism is calling me. Going to trade my soul for a couple dollars. Tomorrow. As any good capitalist will do. Disagree on the definitions of communism and socialism. I mean, that's for sure something we hear about here is like bad, bad. Communism bad. Socialism bad. Yeah, true. No, our universities are pretty good. They're definitely woke in the good way. You know what I mean? All right. It's never on. Oh. Yeah, I still want to figure out what the fuck that movie's about. I think that's going to be it for me, chat. Come back tomorrow. Or offline chat if you want. Have fun. Unfortunately, the alarm goes off at 6 a.m., so my old ass is not streaming for 10 hours. Or 3, it doesn't look like. Barely. Thank you. Nice to see you again, chat. Hasta mañana. It'll be fucking Tuesday, right? That's fucking right. We're going to have a good Tuesday. That's fucking right, mate. So join me, especially if you're across the pond or way the fuck down south. We love our non-Americans. Bye.